a head scratcher. This entirely duelist-less composition is not something that we see all too often. Actually, I don't think we ever see it.
Yeah.
But, you know, it is PRX after all.
Say that 10 times fast, right? But I will say on Sunset, the Sage Walls are pretty insane because you can get into some good elevations that the smokes of Gen.G might not be able to blot out completely. That being this one as well, as we can see here on Market. But Gen.G is very aware of this, and Devio is almost taken down. But the separation, though, does allow them to get the pickup onto Munchkin. Now, the rest of PRX is going to be holding back the site, and they're just going down to work. Gen.G not in a comfortable spot, and they're just going to have to try to wiggle their way out of this as we turn into the 2 versus 1. But this could be a quick transition if Meteor can find some good timings on this. But he gave away that location of his because he threw out the camera.
Just a little bit known and obvious, but at the same time, PRX holding things back. I mean, this is what we want to see from them on the attack, from the defending side.
Yeah.
You've got that Sage Wall, which is actually really interesting because it blocks off Market, and now it allows for the rest of them just to, you know, be free in a target-rich environment. We know that they're going to approach from A main. We can just hold our ground and start picking them off bit by bit. Mind Freak with that ghost shot, picking up the double kill, and that's the PRX that we see.
At least for these next couple of rounds, before Gen.G gets those rifles, the Sage Wall is going to be somewhat harder to break down, so there should be a lot more safer position for PRX to drop it in. Don't worry about that angle for a good chunk of the round and just be safe. Anyways, Forsaken, Outlaw, Contact, success. Actually, very successful. 3 kills for the price of 2 bullets. Very, very good start here for Forsaken.
That's, what, 300% success rate? No, that's terrible math. In any case...
How could you? We are, you know, we're supposed to be good at math.
Why?
Because we have phones that have calculators, and you can check it.
Good save, good save. That said, yes, I mean, we do have calculators. We have, you know, the credit score being, you know, calculated for us. Forsaken getting a lot of those frags, and it's immediately putting a door stopper to anything that Gen.G throws at them. Not to mention Mind Freak out the lurk, and also towards the last kill on towards Karen. They kind of knew that this would be where Gen.G was approaching from, and it's just a good check from Forsaken nonetheless. So interestingly enough, we're swapping around roles so much from the Cypher now to the KO. Oh, and a Sage Wall that boosts them up. That's what the Outlaw and the Sage is for.
A lot of the elevation, man. I told you, there is going to be so many cheeky positions that you can utilize this with. And of course, the byproduct of just blocking off a certain pathway that Gen.G will have to break or wait for it to break. Which, as you can see, forces Gen.G to be a whole lot more respectful of just, you know, pushing up into these certain positions. Ooh, Meteor, boot spotted.
Yeah, they don't want to lose their full buy run all that quick, right? They don't want to give the bonus over to PRX, and so just trying to be very careful off of it, cut noise, and then the execution through. Texture getting this first frag actually does so much for them because now they have more options, not to mention Munchkin making use of tiles to walk up front on mid.
Did they close the door on Market, though? That's still open, isn't it not? Okay, there you go. It's still closed up, so Forsaken doesn't have to worry about that for the moment. No aggressive push out here for Gen.G just yet, Quack. Maybe waiting for, or just letting PRX cook for the moment, but since they have to, some of their players have to go for the half shields, that Outlaw, absolutely terrifying. Texture's already here in the front lines, and the damage, the aim, the lethality, absolutely felt. Forsaken pushing in, picks up so many weapons. This man is an absolute Inspector Gadget. Charon.
Can't reload.
Oh, man. He's waiting for his teammate, though. He's waiting for something. Who has the wingman? Oh, no, the stun. The way he actually loses is he does not. Charon! 2 headshots. Holds it off, even through the pressure of utility chasing him down to the ends of the earth.
Yeah, you can definitely see a slight bit of miscomm, a bit of a mishap towards the end of that round. Forsaken starts things off incredibly well. Of course, Gen.G tempers with that, just trying to play carefully around mid as well, you know, gathering up towards A and then executing in. But then, just at the end of it, although Forsaken picks up the frag, you know, like you mentioned, swapping weapons, Something, I think, wanted to pick up another rifle and just, you know, wasn't quite there to support. Forsaken on characters whiffing. So Charon just pops off, and now back to it. PRX does not want to let up.
Yeah. Again, that's talking about it, man. This Charon newcomer for Gen.G already showing why he's, you know, in that spot. This time, though, it will get punished. Devi holding a very high angle here. Not going to get spotted, so he will get some damage in, but Meteor somehow manages to get that backside control already, opens it up. Will not have the North up for the moment at least. Does he activate it? Paranoia, huge. Is he really going to thrash for the overkill? I love this! And Lakia, welcome! Okay, I was about to welcome him, you know, to the Blades, to Tondo Gaming, even though it is PRX.
Hey, we're not in Tondo.
True, we are in Sunset. You know, it's located in LA. Thank you.
But you gotta admire the movement, the way that something plays off of this. You know, just securing the round. My kill, yeah. He's off for that 4th quad, right? And also one more point after having spent the Thrasher.
Yeah.
But it's mainly, you know, playing off of that Dizzy. They managed to pick up those kills as Gen.G tried to make a play through mid. So PRX definitely adapting around it, getting a lot of good information because of their utility.
And again, you know, just to get in a different point, it felt that this is the comeback for something in this specific series. This Forsaken. He's been putting the hours in that Outlaw, man. I mean, he doesn't even have to deal with the headshot. It's all body shots for him.
It's an answer back to whatever Meteor and Texture did to them on that map 1.
Fair enough. Mind Freak now repositioning. Smoke doesn't allow him to push outside of market cleanly, but yikes. Is he going to get thrashed in here? Actually into the pit with Texture and teammate. Doesn't matter, though, as they chase Monyet into the back of the site, the rest of PRX was there to trade him off.
Not afraid, right? To throw his body in so that his teammates can kind of use him for information. And that's kind of how PRX reacts so quickly. As soon as they can confirm that the hit was headed towards the site, you had everyone rotating over and just to kind of set up around it. Forsaken getting those 2 kills just pretty much confirms that the hit was headed towards B.
Okay, I was waiting for like something else for him to say. And
right now, Gen.G has caught the timeout, so they've definitely switched something up, going for the full commit into A instead.
They have
showstopper, man.
Very much committed a lot of utility just to get into A main. They haven't even pushed yet on Link. They haven't committed to push yet on Elbow.
I'm scared about this Elbow.
Truly, but look at how many players are already here on tiles. Does Munchkin hear the footsteps though? He tucks himself in the corner. They might not be able to clear him out, and he might get the best sandwich position of his life. He needs to do something right here and now, which he does. Devi does go for the trade. No walls just yet. He actually boosts himself up. What a chat moment here from Devi. Texture left on an island. He's got the showstopper. Devi, say your prayers, and that's going to be that Gen.G. Oh my God, they got pressed by PRX, but they got themselves out of a tight situation courtesy of the man, the myth, the Texture.
Made the round expensive, but yeah, Texture. What a way to bail out the team, just committing the showstopper.
Standing.
And truly blowing things up to secure one more round for Gen.G. Ooh. That said, though, I mean, PRX, what a good way to push down tiles.
I love the reaction, sorry, that he just did. Was a quick sigh into a ha-ha. All right, same play here for Texture. No contact just yet, though.
I've got your
no, they're really pressing up into this. They're not slowing down compared to last round here, Quack. So it is a full commitment right now for Gen.G. They want to get a quick start onto this post plan from the looks of things. They want to position for that, for the goods of this, as I mentioned, post plan, and save up as much utility for when PRX tries to come into the site.
Yeah, right. Same thing coming through. They know that PRX is definitely not going to make the exact same play. Something investing into this operator as well. So unless they can get clear vision, it's going to be so difficult for them to break through. And that's a great way to start.
Absolutely. Meteor into the corner here. Loving the use of the wingman to actually clear corners rather than defuse the spike. If he gets a target, that's an immediate concuss for you. And Texture's just so far. Even if he can win some of the fights here, he's just way far from stopping something from defusing that spike.
Unbelievable. I mean, maybe it was Gen.G overextending a little bit outside of the smoke. They wanted just to check for information, but punished just as quick by PRX. I mean, the Outlaw being fired off, but then everyone else just coming in just as quick. And you're talking about texture, but PRX, the movement that they got. I mean, Monyet maybe just a little bit more comfortable on this this Omen.
Yeah, there's also that point where Lakia wanted to push out of his flash, but he flashed nobody, and then he just didn't know how many players of PRX deal with as he was holding that specific angle on A.
So off of that round now, it's another save for Gen.G. Try to play things slow and careful. They don't have all too much. You've got texture on the Guardian, so you want to make the most of what you have. Back towards A, and you can see that PRX are changing things up again. You've got control over B shops, B main,
Here.
and you don't see anything. So you have an idea of what's about to happen. That is why Davai as well as Monyet are playing that far back on A site.
And again, if this is a full commitment of like majority of the players of Gen.G, if they push out through elbow like this, the slower from Device is going to stop them dead in their tracks. With the paranoia, that is a death sentence here for Gen.G if they're not careful. Thankfully enough, because of the smoke that they've had, it allows them to get access to the site, but it's a complete and utter disaster when PRX comes out to reclaim what was theirs.
That's just a pretty lovely spray transfer. I mean, you're absolutely right, that's right. It's just a bit of a death sentence for Gen.G. You know, they see that they don't really have any options, might as well just commit to something. But what they did not expect was such a setup. First of all, Monyet in an elevated position, and then like you mentioned, right, Davai, he could have thrown out the Slorbs, but he was also anyone that tries to step through. Now we've got some ultimates on the side of PRX. We've got 3 coming out from Gen.G, but you know, they're not really the ones that you want to initiate fights. Gen.G needs a catalyst.
Speaking of Gen.G, they're still going for A. Sanity is doing the same thing over and over again.
Thresh push down mid.
Expecting for different results. And the different result is, you're absolutely right, PRX, they've committed for this mid control. They thought that Gen.G would actually mix things up and try to go for that mid play. And it isn't. It doesn't. It's gonna be Gen.G once again holding for A, but Meteor is lurking. Maybe that's the difference.
It does buy a little bit of manpower away from the rest of Gen.G, so Meteor stays towards the back. The rest of them come back towards the front of A. And maybe we just retake from Link.
Thrash activated for the second time. Davai cuts off the corner. Plant denied, actually. Texture somehow manages to pick up a kill with the paint shells. No safe space just yet for Gen.G. They have to start holding some crossfire angles while they start defusing the spike, and he's using his teammate as some sort of third POV info gatherer. Not gonna allow them to push up just yet because of that toxic screen. And here comes the contact, and Texture is coming out on top of this, and it's somehow working somewhat favorably for Gen.G for a moment right now. But again, no plan on the spike just yet. Numbers still favoring the Korean side though. Something comes in with the operator, dwindles the numbers a little bit. The TP comes in around the corner. How close does he know? Very close, he knows about it.
Seconds.
Oh my god, no way, Meteor. And he's out in the open field, man. Out to just get laid out and dry, and PRX, full control.
It was a nice flick from Meteor, but yeah, not quite enough. Full control from PRX. I thought things were starting to get really dicey, especially up around Link. I mean, if you look at what Gen.G was about to do, yes, they wanted to get that spike down, but they couldn't quite do it because of the Thrasher that came in, because of this looming threat that was PRX. However, Texture was just held on the other side. And if you look at the layout of the map, there's so much more space around alley, around elbow, and that's what Gen.G did. But as soon as that op sounded off, man, things started to go wrong. They had the pressure of the time against them.
And playing on the side itself, unless you're getting pushed in, you don't really have great line of sight on any position on A. So that's just very bad boo-boos here for Gen.G.
Boo-boos.
Now they're mixing up. For how many rounds was it? Like 4 or 5 rounds straight, they just kept going A, and now they're gonna try to go hold their way onto B.
Look at the setup on B.
This is something with an op too. Oh wow, they might actually get collab here if they're not careful. Into the corner is also Mind Freak.
Spike down.
They've come into the trap, man, of PRX here. come into the spider's web, as they said. They're gonna have to try to pick up this spike if they can. Something's just denying it every single time. Meteor's here, Devi knows about it, and PRX. Is the world back in order now? They're 8-2 here, Quack.
Very much more comfortable, but then, you know, it is still just the first half, right? I still want to see how this composition works on the attacking side. But that said, I mean, this is such an incredible performance. You're talking about it, the PRX fold, but it's also just how they are controlling the map. GEN.G actually looks a little bit lost, although they possibly have studied how PRX played this before, watching AVL, but that was
Devi's boosted here. They are aware of it. Oh my god! Devi might actually get twice, but no one yet! Holding his hand! It's the PRX security system, dude. And just as the smoke comes up, Devi gets a whiff of Meteor pushing in, and in just the blink of an eye, Quack, 2 drop down from GEN.G.
Careful.
the whole game plan has just been thrown in for a loop. How do you recover now? You've lost Texture, you've lost Meteor, both star fraggers. Maybe Charon, but I don't know how much this Paranoid can really do. Look at the sight lines that PRX has covered. Something, in case someone pushes out mid, you're gonna get fragged. If you go through Market, maybe, but it's a full 5-on-3 retake. Uh-oh.
Oh, that's the worst possible opponent they wanted to give the kill for, but again, there's nothing really that GEN.G could have done in this situation other than go for that close contact. I was thinking they wanted to actually get someone so that they can get into a site. They had the Viper's Pit, but the one person that they didn't want to give a kill when they have a pit is something because of the Thrash. So many things that was working against the favor here of GEN.G.
Just so interesting how this composition is actually so good against GEN.G right now. Apart from that, also just how Devi was holding off a main. Man, the celebration's going off. I mean, that wall actually, you know, throws off Texture a little bit. If it wasn't there, he might have just felt a lot more free to dive right in with that rocket, but not now. Back off to this, though. Last round of the first half, let's just rush into B. Why not?
Imagine if you actually didn't pick up the rifle there. That would have been very, very bad. Anyways, everybody's blind up until this point, but that snake bite, man, they're just coming into this. We'll call this the PRX grinder. Pushes it up. There it is, 2 remaining players on GEN.G, now down to Lakia. He is lighting things up like a Christmas tree. But it's all for naught as he loses the bullets, and there's still 2 remaining players of PRX alive.
Oh, good attempt. But still, yeah, this PRX branded grinder, sold to you for $19.95. Chew up pepper grinds and everything else along with it. And along with it, some GEN.G members. Unfortunate, but, you know, it's just that last round. Let's see if they can keep it up.
I also wanted to add as well, Devi, he's been the utility boss on this Sage. You know, no safety for himself. He just full blasts, get everything. No shields, all utility. Man is giving his effort. He's giving his life for PRX at this point. There's the wall. Cross it up. No tripwires to be afraid of.
Wow.
Planting the spike very quickly with the wingman here. And backs away safely, only leaving... Actually, no. 3 players very nearby, willing to fight inside near the smoke.
Crazy. Dizzy out as well.
Oh, okay, they're going to keep fighting this one. But look at how cleanly PRX are just breaking them down. This wall is separating fights from GEN.G. They can't even create these crossfires anymore. And now here's the number game. But GEN.G strikes back, leaving MindFreak by himself. Does he have the time? Does he have the utility? Does he have the angles with the Sheriff?
No.
And that is a resounding no. GEN.G, when all looks lost, PRX pushed in, and they counter, they strike back.
This might be a dated reference, but that's a no for me, dog. Dude, I mean, they looked so good on that execute. You got Gecko, you got Wingman, little homie, getting the plant in for you. Nobody was there to really do anything because of Devi's wall, right? Blocking off Market that way, but GEN.G just kind of holds back. I was feeling a little bit iffy about a full 5-on-5 retake. But as soon as the firefight started to break out around Pillar, PRX started to push past the Pillar, and there was that little bit of a crossfire that GEN.G made use of. Charon getting those frags out now. Devi just couldn't have a good time. So, GEN.G moving forward.
Great start. you know, for the second half.
Yeah.
We're talking about how it's not yet over just yet. Okay, Monyet finds it. Quick trivia, by the way. If you're gonna be a Cypher, you know, playing outside of B, you want the tripwire on the floor because it's harder for the opponents to break it. But obviously they can jump over it. But you know, just a quick FYI. Anyways, going back into this for PRX. They're coming into market. Munchkin hasn't even cleared this out just yet, and he is full blinded. Can he even find something with the judge now that Dizzy has offloaded himself on him? Absolutely not. Texture does force back everything, and then you can see PRX trying to find a different angle at this point, coming up the top mid, but Charon denies with that Spectre.
So there's a little chance Forsaken with the judge. I don't know how useful it's going to be. Lakia coming up from behind is the one that you want to watch out for.
One enemy remaining.
There he is. Doesn't want to overreach his lead too. Right? They still know that any player of PRX with any upgraded weapon is very much scary to deal with at this point, so they can always just do that. Yep. Put him in a spot that is most advantageous here for Gen.G. A solid second round in that second half.
Yeah, let's bring back some Gen.G rounds. But of course, it's a good bit of damage coming out from PRX as well. So a couple of these players, Karen, Munchkin, not quite being able to afford the bigger guns. That could be a problem as PRX seeks that match point round.
This is a nice spot. Come on, little homie.
So of course, it's a little bit important for them to really play off of this. Either, you know, bait your teammates or hang back because they are the controllers.
Yeah. Like how the Blade actually clears more of B main. Since, you know, on bonus round, some players will just play on the back of that board. Thrash activated quickly. Not sure if it heard where the tripwire was, but Monyet is very much controlling this back angle for now. Devi also leading it, or rather defending the gap. So it's a pretty clean take here from PRX. They just had to use a bit of utility, but it works solely in their favor.
Still though, that fight across the pillars. As soon as Devi stays back.
Can he get his ace? Oh yeah, he can. There it is.
I was the sword.
He was the sword, he was the shield, he was the healer. Man's Devi, the Swiss Army knife of PRX. What you need him to be, he will become.
The boulder and the mountain.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a bit of a round against a half buy, but you know, you were talking about the tripwires, you were talking about the executes coming through. All of that is actually just straight up negated because of Devi's barrier orb. Put up, Meteor can't really do anything against it. He might have the tiny gap, and even if a trip does go off, it just gets blocked.
And that's a big problem because they want to get that punish, right? Monyet is so far in front of this. That pop flash is gonna blow up in his face. Lakia does get the trade. It does signal the PRX to start moving their way quickly into A main. Devi, because of that ace, also now has his res up. So they're looking for a trade here where they can either bait their teammate for a res or just res them to res them. If that makes sense. Oh, Lakia finds one. Tripwire. Meteor holding at the corner of this site. Look at how Gen.G has just gotten all control in A main. This leaves PRX in such a tight bind. If they realize this, they might be able to push at the back of the site. But at this point, Munchkin and Charon just grinding their gears and cleaning up the rest of PRX, trapped again on elbow.
Yeah, a bit of that inverse where PRX wanted to retake from the earlier half. This time, Gen.G just making sure that their feet are planted firmly on A site, gaining control over, you know, the site, over Link, Ali, and then Munchkin coming up from the back of the elbow. PRX were the ones stuck in that choke point. So it's a little bit awkward, especially when Monyet dies that early on in the round. Such a tight angle. And of course, you've also got Karen, who's possibly going to position himself in an elevated angle up towards either site or Link.
Wow, look at how both teams actually scramble from A main. Imagine if PRX just pushed that.
I could see, yeah, a timing push though. If they throw that Dizzy past the bells, might be good. Maybe they're just waiting for that smoke to go off. There it is.
Charon's already out there, though. Even if he gets like double blinded for the Paranoia and the Dizzy, he's already out. That's why they actually left it, because Meteor has this camera marking up all the way on elbow, spots out something, so that means that this could be a straight-up push. Where the tripwire is for Meteor here, that's going to be the important part right now, as Charon is going to try to feed off of it. Paranoia into the corner. This is going to be a very tricky time for PRX, and they're going to have to try to do a lot just to get into that site. Quick little res for Lakia, or rather for Forsaken, but immediately gets refragged by Lakia. Thankfully enough, Monyet was there to punish. Dust settles, and there is the site taken. The numbers advantage for PRX, as well as the long rotation here from the rest of the Gen.G players still alive.
Trade's good enough, but Texture on the flank.
Okay,
Enemy remaining.
boom. That was quick. I was looking at
They each got their one.
that maybe Texture could have gotten something, but you're absolutely right. Pop shot for pop shot, 12-5 in PRX. They only need one more.
We're just reading the game really well. Although, yeah, it does not do all too much against Charon. It gives them enough space. And once they had that space, they were able to execute into the site, you know, just making use of the flashes again or going past it. Having the players to really come in and trade out for each other. That's PRX style. Every single one of them capable of fracking. And also, Monyet having a good time, the young gun on the stage.
No. Sorry, I was letting you finish off what you were saying, because it seems like Gen.G was trying to just get that heavy contact on B main, hoping that PRX was huddled up. Not gonna happen this time. PRX immediately activate that null command. And as his kills steps into the direction of kills, wins rather, for PRX in this series. Meteor gonna have to run away for dear life. Thrash activated once again here by something. Devi holding mid control. Lakia wins that out. So at least they have to deal with the possible flank. But control of the site and timer started to tick down here for PRX as that spike has been planted down. Okay, Paranoia is activated. This is good. They're using this to bounce Texture off with the showstopper. Flash out for Forsaken. Oh my god, how did they actually get these punishes? But still, Charon lights up the entire house. 2 versus 1. Monyet coming into the corner right now. And it's all up to him. Can he get it? First one. Very low in HP, but Lakia locks it in. 12-6, and Gen.G hold on.
Down to 5 HP, really close. But thanks to a bit of body blocking from Charon and just Mindfreak having to do extra work, a little bit more difficult, Gen.G stays in the game. I mean, the way the entire site hit breaks out, Gen.G just couldn't quite hold off. And like you mentioned in that retake, Texture showstopper, you know, not quite being able to do what they wanted because PRX knows exactly how to respond to it.
We'll say, though, because of the threats of both that Paranoia and Showstopper, granted they didn't get any kills, feels like that was the opening that Charon needed to get those frags rolling for him. They called immediate down on this wall, though. Texture's playing very close into this. This could be an opening for both of the teams, and there it is, man. Something doesn't miss. They can up this wall once again. Munchkin has to get close. He needs, or he wants to just stop them from picking up anything right now. Okay. He is preparing his snakebite for it. There it is.
Doesn't negate the wingman, though.
Spike planted.
Definitely does not, but has a whole lot of commitments of walls to just get that wingman in. And if Lakia can get this first frag, which he does, that's a lot of access points for both him as well as Charon coming in through B main.
Comes down to gunplay.
Oh, PRX realizes though, so they have to force fight this. Can Forsaken hold on, let his teammate at least fight for him.
Enemy remaining.
Cannot. And as the dust settles, it's Monyet 3 versus 1. And he's not even planted for him. He's trying to get closer and closer, but that spike is just diffusing in front of his eyes and he can't do nothing for it.
Good stutter step from Lakia. That's a nice idea from PRX. You know, we've seen this execute already with the barrier orb, the gecko coming through. Great shot from something to open things up, but towards the end, like you mentioned before, Asterai, the whole thing just comes down to gunplay towards the end of it. All that utility has already been spent, and as Lakia gets the frag from behind, it opens things up so much that the rest of the PRX kind of got, you know, pinched down inside B main. Can't really fight back because of that. And
Yeah,
of course the guns that they had, you know.
Yeah, fair enough, you know. better firepower here for Gen.G to make do with. One-way smoke always planted there on A main, but without the dog, PRX a lot more confident to actually push through this. But here's the thing. That Skye has not given away his position. So if he can play close enough, a guiding light could actually be a punishing play here, but the bait and switch for PRX, they immediately knew what was up. Meteor though, yeah, mentioned it. Quick to go for the trade, but Monyet, unstoppable at this point, just keeps going in, and it's trade for trade, but PRX, as these dust settles, as these fights come to a conclusion, is looking to get a little bit of the advantage, and that is just enough for them to work with. Texture coming into the corner right now, finds one. Everybody backs away onto elbow here.
Oh,
they
Munchkin
got the utility, they got everything. Munchkin, it's gonna be big for him. He needs to find something right now with this flank.
He wants a gun.
Because Texture is about to
remaining.
get sandwiched in. He's found himself that Phantom as you were talking about, but something's just too quick.
Attackers
He's just
win.
too good, and he's just too fast, and that's going to be that.